Hey guys, welcome back.
Yeah.
So currently we have a bunch of ventilators still available, but in the near future it's expected we're going to have to start expanding with anesthesia machines. One of the other hospitals in the system is already using a few of these, and we actually developed this sort of cheat sheet. And I think we probably put this on each of the machines that would be in use. Ragufunga, give them credit where credit's due. First of all, at the top of the sheet is an 800 number if there are issues that you can't figure out in the middle of the night. They can bring in a transport ventilator to put the patient on temporarily until the problem is fixed. So the main things about running these as ventilators, it's not an FDA-approved indication, it's an off-label use. The machines will have been tested each morning by the anesthesia techs, well, unless it's in use. Then it's tested every 72 hours. To get it started, it's already been through its full check. You just hit OK, and then start, and then confirm.
Are you putting the parameters, the age, and the kilos?
Good question.
You know how I have to bring new data?
You can change it by just tapping on that and doing that. You can dial it in.
We're not using maps, so I
Yeah,
guess
it
it's
doesn't
not,
really-
it's not necessary, right? The vaporizers are off.
The vaporizers will be completely removed. Let me just go through this in order. So I'll get to that. So first and foremost, you have to have the filter on, which is we use thermal flow. It's a humidifier and filter, and it's 99.99% effective in filtering virus and bacteria. There's also another one on the expiratory limb, which is also the same rating. So it's kind of double protection for the machine. The CO2 absorber is to be changed every day, and also the HME filter is supposed to be changed once every 24 hours. ASA recommends every 4 hours, but that you go through a million of them, and we don't have that many. So they're recommending 24 hours at Condell, and that's working out just fine. Of course, if it gets clogged up with secretions or something, then it might be changed a little bit earlier. The circuit is to be changed, it's just every 72 hours, not every 24 hours. I don't know how that got in there. Circuit every 72 hours. Okay. So the total fresh gas flow should be close to the minute ventilation. So somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 8 liters per minute. And the reason for that is to decrease the expiration of the soda line. The lower the flows, the more you go through the soda line, and we're used to running low flows, so we have to change them pretty frequently in the OR, but if you run those higher flows, it's much less, the color change happens much slower. Now, if it's less than 24 hours, and the untitled CO2, which will be recorded on this machine, because that's just part of our setup. If the inspired CO2 concentration is greater than 5 millimeters of mercury, or it's grossly blue in color, I'm sure there would be a correlation between the two, then it can be changed earlier. A lot of this is for the nurses to basically, I kind of went through, you can put the machine in standby mode, then you have to confirm it if you want to basically stop everything. To restart, you hit start and confirm. Now, a way to not lose the ventilator settings, say they have to, I don't know, do something where they have to disconnect the ventilator. So say you're in volume control, and you're going along, and you want to disconnect for whatever reason, maybe you got to change out the filter, for example. All you can do is hit pause, confirm, and it stops everything, but it doesn't forget what you had programmed in. Then there's resume ventilation and confirm, and you're right back to where you were before. A few things about the ventilator settings. The vast majority of the time they're going to be using volume control. That's pretty basic. The idle volume dials in, the respiratory rate dials in, the peak dials in. Not sure if everyone's familiar with the IE ratio, but that's the inspired time. And then once you tap that, the IE ratio appears over here. You can adjust that. We typically go 1 to 2, and so do the respiratory therapists. Occasionally they will reverse that though, so you can just dial it to the right and confirm. So the other thing the nurses need to know, or the therapists, respiratory therapists are the ones who are going to be making the changes, is our dials go in the opposite direction. You turn it left and it increases whatever flow you're turning up. The CO2, the nitrous oxide tank will be removed, and obviously there won't even be a port in the wall for it. So they need to know that the only way to change the FiO2 is to dial it in with the flow meters, and the inspired oxygen concentration appears up here in the upper left. And of course, the way to get to 100% is to turn off the air completely. And again, the flows are going to be much higher than we're used to running, somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 8 liters per minute. Silence alarm button. In case they do have a disconnect, they know that what the problem is. The silence button gives you 2 minutes, and then it'll restart all the alarms again. Let's see here. If they want to run an ambu bag, the auxiliary oxygen port is here. If for some reason the manual spontaneous button is touched, we don't want a bunch of positive airway pressure accumulating. You know, as you know, the bag will just keep blowing up. So this is going to be set to 0 and taped in place.
Oh, all
Yeah, okay. So that there can't be any mistakes like that made. Okay. So pressure control, same thing. They like pressure control, just dial in the pressure. Typically they set it at 20. You can include some pressure support or not. And all of the modes in Draeger allow for spontaneous respiration. Okay, the whole idea is so that it doesn't want patients fighting the ventilator. If they take an inspired breath, it's going to help with some pressure support, or if you're in volume control, it's going to just generate another set tidal volume. The volume control auto flow, it's doubtful they're going to use that, but the purpose of that is to deliver the set tidal volume at the lowest possible peak airway pressure. So what it does is adjusts the flow, and it also adjusts the speed of the flow. So if it detects decreased lung compliance, like you've got a person with deep trachea, which would never happen in the ICU, but lung compliance changes do occur, and say you're on the ICU service, it might be something to try. If you're having difficulty ventilating the patient, it will auto adjust to that lung compliance change and still deliver the tidal volume in the set time frame that you have dialed in, but it will adjust to the lowest possible peak airway pressure. So anyway, again, unlikely that's going to be used in the ICU. All right, so let's see, what did I miss? So the big things for the nurses to check. The water trap is here. This can accumulate water, and this needs to be changed when it starts filling up.
And that should be clean water, right?
Yeah, because everything on this side of the filter is free of bacteria and virus, so it's not contaminated. It's just pure condensation. This filter may get blocked up. That needs to be changed. In the expiratory limb, condensation can occur. It's due to difference between the temperature of the air moving through it and the room temperature. That's what creates the condensation. Respiratory therapy has some little water traps that they can set in between here. This can actually disconnect. But if that's not there, okay, this could be full of water and just gurgling through there. So then that needs to be emptied. This needs to be replaced and put back on. And of course, if that is trashed, time for a new circuit. Okay. All right. Soda line is the other thing we need to check. So water accumulation, fouling of the filter, the soda line, and the water trap over here. Okay, and that's pretty much the rundown. If anybody's wondering what these things are down here, this is a battery backup surge protector. Okay, all the power sources for all the different things here plugged into that. This here is basically the scavenging system. So there's a little indicator there where the normal range should be. If you, somebody take a look at that little dial there. If I change this,
Yes,
you're going to see it change.
yes, it's going up.
Okay, so tell me when I'm in the normal range.
You're not yet. It's not really moving too much. There you go, keep on going. You made some, keep on going. You're below the minimum line still.
Moving?
Nope. It moved a little bit, but it's now stuck again.
Okay. Well, then that little dial is stuck. That really needs to be replaced because I'm like at maximum maximum vacuum. Anyway, that doesn't even matter. That doesn't even need to be connected to the vacuum outlet because there's no gas to be scavengered at all. And the ventilation system is not tied into the vacuum system like it is on the Omega machines. So, and this over here, this is just suction. This is just suction setup that's attached to the suction pin. So this has nothing to do with anything ventilation-wise.
But the machine does have to be plugged into a wall suction?
It does
The
not.
machine itself, it does not?
No. It does not.
Question, instead of, you said you were gonna take down the top-off valve, but if a patient arrests, instead of disconnecting, can't that be opened up and then we just take the patient off the ventilator and hand ventilate through that instead of grabbing an ambu bag? I don't see
But
what the
that's
advantage.
that's the culture in the ICU is the ambu bag is always back up. No?
Yeah, but we would, I mean, if we're there,
Sure.
that we can do that,
Sure, you
because
can
there's no
do
difference.
you can do whatever you want to with the machine. This is basically to show them what to do when we're in the call room or wherever. They can call us and they say, hey, the thing stopped working. Okay, always go to ambu as a
Okay.
bridge to transport a ventilator.
Now, is this filter here, how good is this? It's not the same as this filter here.
You know, I don't have the specs on this. I've tried to find them, but all of these are typically the 99.98% efficient. But this alone is enough. That's just added protection. So far, no one has recommended putting one here and one here. That's what you're asking.
Are the circuits that they use on their ventilators completely different than this? Besides
They have a setup like this that they can put on, and they can actually use it, but it has heating elements running through it. So it can be used in the absence of anesthesia circuits.
Is the compliance similar? I know we have a lot of, when I have children, the compliance in the circuit is much different. Our settings, you can't really compare them that closely when you
Right.
go up to the NICU or Peds ICU. And I'm just wondering if this is similar for adults. As far as you know.
As far as I know, with the adults, the tubing has very little to do with compliance at all. And the machine, again, has automatic adjustments for that. It's a very smart ventilator.
Will they be putting inline suction?
Yeah, we're not using our circuit, right? We're gonna use the ICU circuit that has the inline suction in it.
Well,
The inline suction goes here before the ET tube. So it's inline suction, then the HME filter, then the circuit.
Okay, so it's an attachment on top.
Yeah, it's a separate attachment. So, you know, as soon as you intubate, frequently they'll just put that directly on and then they'll put the circuit on.
Are you advocating us to clamp the endotracheal tube when you dump things or change filters?
Yes.
So are we gonna keep a clamp like in the top drawer or?
Well, when you intubate, you can do that.
Okay.
They can actually disconnect the filter
Okay.
once you're already connected
Yeah.
to change something out.
But then not the inline suction though.
No. That doesn't really get changed until it's completely trashed. But the respiratory therapists do clamp the tube when they change things out. They have clamps, and they know to do that because that's been part of our drills when we run them, and they're all aware of it because we did the simulations together. As a matter of fact, in that video that I shot just the other day, I don't know if you noticed, but I did clamp the tube, and we have a clamp on each of the COVID airway carts. The one that's designated for emergency room, and the one that's dedicated to MICI.
The one with you in the plastic box?
No.
No, it's a separate airway card.
No, the video. I don't remember seeing that.
Right, yeah, that's the one where I used the plastic box.
Okay, so it gets clamped
Yeah.
on this thing. Did the nurse do it?
No, I did it.
He did.
Yeah, Karen actually commented, she said, I noticed you clamped it too. I wasn't aware we were supposed to do that.
Yeah.
So I guess if nothing else, it was worth shooting the video.
It was.
for that.
Did you shoot a video with Karen, or did that ever come out?
That was not a video, that was just a run through of a COVID code.
Do we have that somewhere?
It wasn't shot, it wasn't a
Okay.
video. Nobody rolled film on that. That was strictly a drill. So the main thing was just practicing getting, you know, the automatic chest compression machine in there, and then waiting for a pulse check to actually intubate the patient. So that was what came out of that, but it wasn't turned into a video.
If we're gonna be up in the ICU, are we gonna have an opportunity to have a simulation of the code that we can all go through, because chances are that may be occurring in the middle of the night? Is that the sim center? Whatever Karen did, I mean, would we have an opportunity to do that, or do we see a video of something like that?
Yeah, I can ask about that. We did shoot, I did shoot one video about a COVID code, so I could just put that
That would be fine.
out there.